Revmichellehopkins. This happened on January 26, 2013. This is one of the many things that the U.S. Pacific Hydroacoustic behemoth is capable of. If you notice, there is an initial TTA plane gearing up. Then another plane comes up from the Atlantic, goes toward this other plane, superpowers it, and then it is directed very forcefully up against the western coast of the United States. The entire continental United States west coast is abutted by this frequency all the way down into Mexico. I'm going to show you how that was done. This is how the U.S. West Coast abutting TTA plane was derived. First, the initial blast came from the U.S. Mid-Atlantic Hydroacoustic Boot, U.S. MATHAB, right here. Right here. You'll notice above this boot are directional arrays. The boot is also coupled with this massive TTA array. The first initial blast came up from the boot to get it ready. According to the directional arrays, it came up this direction first, right in here, until it was super powered. The power came all the way across here, all the way to the Haitian Islands, went south from Haiti along this hydroacoustic arm, all the way down to the Antarctic, down to the U.S. territory of Antarctica, right down into this TTA installment at Rupert Coast in the Antarctic. This is an American coastline controlled by America, and as you see, it goes all the way down to this hydroacoustic installment. This is where it originated. Now this Antarctic originator complex is very, very different, as you can see. I wish I could render a better enhancement for you, but if you can, try to see this. There's some TTAs here, here. There's one there, there's one there, there, there. But this is more than just TTAs. This is where a lot of the power comes from for other TTAs. Basically, they are emitting this power from this installment to other TTAs globally, particularly in the Pacific Ocean. As you can see, this is to create greater power. See if I can bring it in just a little bit better. A lot of turbines and that kind of thing to generate power, just massive power generating from this installment. Now, as you'll remember, this TTA plane we saw directed and forced eastward against the U.S. coast. What caused it to do that was the U.S. Midpoint Pacific Hydroacoustic TTA field. It's this line right here. This line. This is a hydroacoustic array line. What it is basically is fiber optic cable that has been laid down just like all these other lines, and in the cable there are probes that go down into the ocean floor. There are antennae that come up from the cable also as TTA arrays, and there are other arrays built all along this TTA field, along with all of these other TTA fields. But this is the U.S. Midpoint Pacific Hydroacoustic TTA field. That is from whence that pressure came eastward that abutted the entire continental west coast of the United States. As you can see in this extreme close-up enhancement of one of the many TTA installments all along the U.S. Pacific Hydroacoustic TTA behemoth. There are TTAs, these are dish-type directional arrays all along this. There are so many in here, they can't be counted. I mean, there are so many just along this one line that are directional arrays that could very easily cause the kind of direction to the frequency that was boosted by the Antarctic booster array from the Northern Pacific boot right into the western coastline of the United States. These are the earthquakes taking place along this area just over the last few days. Interestingly, we've had numerous earthquakes in the area where this TTA switches to the east. All along here, all of these earthquakes. Now, we are told that these TTA emissions are used to help us decipher where everything is in the ocean and in the atmosphere and in outer space. This was clearly a hydroacoustic frequency emission. It was all underwater. Now, they run all day long, all night long, every day, every night. And we don't see this kind of readout, this massive kind of frequency. It doesn't take that much frequency to find out what is close by our coast, what is halfway between Hawaii and our west coast. The reason being that we have buoys and UAVs and all kinds of TTA paraphernalia in that area, floating and under the water and satellite-based, that tell us all this information, okay? Along with the hydroacoustic information that we gather from these TTAs. One has to ask oneself, when all we would have to do is emit a constant frequency or an intermittent frequency on an occasional basis to find out what is along that coast that is not really high powered. It will give us every description of everything that is there that we need to know. So this tells me that this had nothing to do with finding out there were submarines and other things that do not belong in our area nearby our coast. So the question then is, what was it for? Well, what was the result? A lot of earthquakes resulted from it. A lot of aquatic death is going to result from it. Why did they do it? Why are they doing it? Now, because the emissions that we have seen were so immense, so massive in the area that they were being emitted, it is so vast, this area, we are going to see fish kills, aquatic life, death, and beachings all over this area of the globe, extending all the way from Antarctica to the northernmost tip of the continental United States, and most of the area in between. We're going to see animal death all the way along here, all the way around here, in this area, up and through here. Look for it over the next few days, over the next couple of weeks, as the ocean currents bring them up onto the shores. We were told in Scripture, in prophecy regarding the last days, that there would come haters of man. Years ago, that made no sense. Haters of man. How could man hate man's own self? But in these last days, we begin to understand what that means with Agenda 21. The killing and culling of the herd from 7 billion to 500 million. Haters of man. They are for protecting our shores, our seas, and our skies from the enemy, whatever enemy that might be. That is a cover story. This has everything to do with hatred of mankind. Proverbs 26 says, "Like a coating of glaze over earthenware are fervent lips with an evil heart. A malicious man disguises himself with his lips, but in his heart he harbors deceit. Though his speech is charming, do not believe him, for 7 abominations fill his heart. His malice may be concealed by deception, but his wickedness will be exposed in the assembly. If a man digs a pit, he will fall into it. If a man rolls a stone, it will roll back on him. A lying tongue hates those it hurts, and a flattering mouth works ruin." This is Revmichellehopkins. Thank you for watching, and God bless you.